Picture the following scene on your head. You get hurt while playing soccer and your parents take you to the hospital. Everything goes as you imagine things would be like on a hospital. You know, people in the corridors, syringes attached to your arm, until you find out that your doctor will be Dr. House. Eventually, you find out that he's a genius with medical treatments, but also a jerk, who would have thought. You know, this is essentially the plot for the TV series, which is him saving patients with the most bizarre diseases known to humanity, while making fun of his patients throughout the process. It was actually the first series that I ever watched, I think around when I started high school 3 years ago. I absolutely fell in love with the cast sarcasm and acid sense of humor. The thing is that as I started watching more and more episodes, I would quickly change my personality. I would start quoting the series daily, act just as the characters would do, but most importantly, turn my own personality to that of House, where I would rely on cynicism and harsh sarcastic comments to communicate with my close ones. It didn't take very long for them to point that out, and I just couldn't make them understand that this was the new version of me. And I had quickly become very ingenious with quick replies, but I was now alone and I didn't have anyone to reply to. Has it ever happened to you, or a close one, that you are so similar to a TV character that people start making comparisons between you two? You know, it's very common to watch someone we like on a program or series and unconsciously imitate them, partially thanks to a specific type of neuron on our brains, which is called the mirror neuron, which is located on the brain's macaque cortex. Although scientific overall consensus over their actual functions hasn't been reached just yet, this situation made me think about the emotional implications of gradually becoming a TV character in real life. Yes, it may even happen to you, but to what extent are you in fact like them? Who's copying who? And most importantly, would you really stop being yourself to become that character? Let us play a quick game for me to further explain this point. I'll say out loud some characters' quotes, and if you can picture yourself saying that, or you feel identified with the quote, you may try to guess who I'm talking about. Did you understand that? Okay. Let's try and check how you do with this. I care for 8 seconds. Then I got distracted. Somewhere out there's a tree producing oxygen to you. You owe it an apology. Reality is almost always wrong. So, how did it go? Were you able to understand who this person is? Well, whichever the case might be, this person turns out to be none other than Dr. House. Yes, same guy as before. I know, but I mean, I can't deny these are great phrases. They are sarcastic and sharp. That's why I was in love. It was love at first sight for me. You know, the thing is that let's assume you like them too and you want more, so that you decide to look for other things from House, only to find out that he's actually a mostly miserable and lonely person who hides from society on his medical knowledge and quotes. He's well depicted as smart, there's no doubt about it, but simply it's not the type of smart person I think we should aspire to be in real life. Now, second character, are you ready? Right, these are the quotes. With imagination, I can be anything I want. You'll never know the true value of a moment until it becomes a memory. How long have I been ugly? Great. Some more positive, funny phrases in here. I'm really thinking that either the first or the third quote would have sold away the character if you already guessed them. So, in this case, I gave you the bright side of SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, the famous TV character. As a disclaimer, I have nothing against the Yellow Sponge. I actually like the comedy on the show, although my mother wouldn't let me watch it when I was younger. However, she may have had a point back then, you know. She would tell me that SpongeBob is, to some extent, lying about his feelings. As I grew up, I started realizing that it is virtually impossible to keep my face straight all the time, you know, just like him, because he doesn't seem to be entirely sure about his feelings all the time, and he just keeps a straight face 90% of the time. In conclusion, gradually becoming SpongeBob would let you find a good side on everything. Yes, that's true. But what about the other side of not so positive feelings? What about those times where you actually need to cry? Or what about those times when you need to be angry or just to let loose? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Finally, let's move on to a third and final character. Are you ready? Alright, here are the quotes. My interests include music, science, justice, animals, shapes, feelings. When did everything turn to crap? Oh my god, I'm losing my perspicacity. Alright, we've got some various interests in here, existential interrogations if you mind. Who do you people think is this character? Well, let me tell you that if you guessed Dr. House once again, I mean, I would definitely agree with you. However, this is not the case, unfortunately. In this case, we're talking about the famous character of Lisa Simpson. Of course you know her. Once again, you can't imagine how many laughs I've had by watching Lisa and her family on TV. You know, it's a wonderful comedic piece, yet not anything else besides that. At least that's how I see it. Now, I know this particular case is more connected to current social dynamisms and, you know, things that have been currently happening in society and all that. And it does evidence some message throughout its satire. But let us not forget that here we're talking about specifically the Lisa Simpson character, you know, who lives in some made-up TV universe, and whatever happens inside those episodes involving her has to be convenient enough for the plot to make sense. You know, and of course, this is all planned in advance, bear in mind. Trying to imitate her entire personality in an everyday scenario would not have to be the same outcomes, since life is, of course, not a Simpsons perpetual episode. At the end of the day, you'll always be free to act and do as you prefer. Okay, it's your life, and you are the one who are going to choose whether you act in X or Y form. It is not wrong to look up to some individuals on the screen, you know, as long as you understand two important things. One, which is that you are not exactly like them. You are your own person. You are your own personality, and you have to own that person. And second thing, that you too have ideas of your own. Okay, you conceive your thoughts by yourself, not a group of Hollywood screenwriters who know beforehand that what they're creating is mere fiction. You are not fiction. You are in fact a reality. Next time you start the Netflix app or simply turn on your TV, ask yourself if you'd really be willing to make up for whatever the character did on your place. What do you prefer? Let people who surround you meet a copycat of yourself, or actually meet you, someone who is different from the rest? One last thing. Sure, get inspired from others, but create your own character out of yourself and make every day a unique episode of your own series. The series about your life and not that of someone else. Don't let anyone steal the spotlight reserved just for you. Thank you very much.